Decision fatigue may help explain why ordinary, sensible people get angry at colleagues and families, waste money, and make decisions they would not normally make. No matter how rational you try to be, you can't make decision after decision without paying a biological price. It's different from ordinary physical fatigue. You're low on mental energy, but you're not consciously aware of being tired. And the more choices you make throughout the day, it seems, the harder each one becomes for your brain. Researchers at Florida State University conducted an experiment to test this theory. A group of students were asked to make a series of choices. Would they prefer a pen or a candle or a t-shirt? They were not actually given the chosen items, they just decided which they preferred. Another group, meanwhile, let's call them the non-deciders, spent an equally long period contemplating all these same products without having to make any choices. Afterward, all the participants were given one of the classic tests of self-control, holding your hand in ice water for as long as you can. The impulse is to pull your hand out, and the deciders gave up much sooner. For a more realistic test of their theory, the researchers went into that great modern arena of decision-making, the suburban shopping center. The researchers interviewed shoppers after shopping and asked them to solve as many arithmetic problems as possible but said they could quit at any time. Sure enough, the shoppers who had already made the most decisions in the stores gave up the quickest on the math problems. Any decision can be broken down into what is called the Rubicon model of action phases, in honor of the Rubicon River that separated Italy from the Roman province of Gaul. When Caesar reached it in 49 BC, on his way home after conquering the Gauls, he knew that a general returning to Rome was forbidden to take his army across the river with him, lest it be considered an invasion of Rome. Waiting on the Gaul side of the river, in the pre-decisional phase, he contemplated the risks and benefits of starting a civil war. Then he stopped calculating, made his decision, and crossed the Rubicon with his army, reaching the post-decisional phase. The whole process can exhaust anyone's willpower, but which phase of the decision-making process is most exhausting? Researchers have shown that crossing the Rubicon is more tiring than anything that happens on either bank, whether sitting on the Gaul side contemplating your options or advancing towards Rome. Once you're mentally exhausted, you become reluctant to make particularly demanding decisions. This decision fatigue makes you easy prey for sales staff who know how to time their offers. One experiment was conducted at German car dealerships, where customers ordered options for their new vehicles. They had to choose, for instance, among 13 kinds of wheel rims, 25 arrangements of the engine, and 56 colors for the interior. At first, customers would carefully weigh the choices, but as decision fatigue set in, they would start taking whatever was recommended. And the more tough choices they encountered early in the process, the quicker they became tired and settled for the path of least resistance by taking a proposed option. By manipulating the order of the car buyers' choices, the researchers found that the customers would end up settling for different kinds of options, and the average difference totaled more than €1,500 per car, about $2,000 at the time. Whether the customers paid a little extra or a lot extra depended on when the choices were offered and how much willpower was left in the customer. Shopping can be especially tiring for the poor. Some researchers argue that decision fatigue could be a major, and often ignored, factor in trapping people in poverty. Because their financial situation forces them to make so many difficult decisions, they have less willpower to devote to school, work, and other activities that might get them into the middle class. This is significant because study after study has shown that low self-control is associated with low income as well as a large number of other problems, including poor achievement in school, divorce, crime, alcoholism, and poor health. It is also known that when the poor and the rich go shopping, the poor are much more likely to eat during the shopping trip. This might seem like confirmation of their weak character. After all, they could presumably improve their nutrition by cooking meals at home instead of consuming ready-to-eat snacks which contribute to their higher rate of health problems. But if a trip to the supermarket causes more decision fatigue in the poor than in the rich, by the time they reach the cash register, they'll have less willpower left to resist chocolate bars. Not for nothing are these items called impulse purchases.